Welcome back to another One Piece Market Watch, one of my favorite series on the channel, where we take a look the past 5, 10, 15, 20 days of sales that have occurred on eBay to take a look and see what people are buying, what people are selling, but more importantly, what the market is telling us to look at. But before we get into it, guys, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Use code POPPER30 down in the description below to get yourself some gamer subs, 10% off your order. And guys, it's going to be a fun video, so get your gamer subs ready and let's get into it. So before we get into today's market watch, guys, just a couple of things real quick. You know, LBAF has finally started. That's super exciting. How you guys feeling about it? I've been blowing lots of money on some One Piece stuff. Got me a new Blackbeard figure, and I got a display case that's going to be holding him and containing his devil fruit powers. Also got a brand new binder. So I'm going to be showing off the goods a little more. And just look at that. Look how beautiful my collection looks. In today's video, guys, I want you to guess how expensive my collection is. I want you to tell me in the comments below how much you think this collection might be worth. But I don't show this stuff to brag. I show this stuff to solidify my legitimacy.
So you think you're better than me?
And also, real quick, last video we pulled a new hit, guys. The SPs from OP15 are probably one of my favorites, okay? Just look at how great that looks. So, lots of things to look out for. Seriously, cannot get over the sparkle, the shine, the texturing on these new SPs. They are absolutely unreal. But anyways, guys, enough of that. Let's finally get into the One Piece market and see what people are buying. So starting off with a banger. The red manga Luffy card, selling in Japanese, by the way, for $20,000 Canadian. Guys, we have been seeing, regardless of Japanese or English, for the red drop manga cards, selling for incredibly high prices. This is very telling. You know, the red Luffy manga is probably the most sought after manga card ever. Next to, I'd say, Gold Roger maybe, and the Gear 5 Luffy. Super rare card, clearly. Even the Japanese does not matter. All right, moving on, guys. We've got the Treasure Rare Luffy, guys. This card is just such a staple in the Treasure Rare department. You know, we were one of the first channels talking about why Treasure Rares are super valuable and why their prices should be higher than they are. And then, of course, the big boom happened, and we were all kind of laughing. But as you can see here, guys, this recently sold for $385 USD. You know, Treasure Rares are super hard to come by, one per case usually, and that's just, you know, that's definitely rare. This card also just represents Egghead, you know, the Egghead arc. Incredible arc. Super unique, super fascinating, very important to the story. But yeah, $385 USD, guys. So I wanted to show this card next, guys. So we are seeing time and time again people kind of, you know, reaching into the deck boxes, reaching into the promos, and we're trying to pokify these specific cards. You know, there's no real rarity behind them. It's just simply, you know, the product's been out for a while. They're obviously not reselling these or reprinting them from what we can see. If you didn't know, in this deck box, there was a pack that would come with different, like a white version with, like, cool coloring to it, you know. Definitely rarer than, I would say, this specific leader card. But we can see here it was put up for $309 USD. Let's take a look at 130 point. This was on April 20th. We got $309.99 USD, and it looks like it's this one here, yeah, except the next morning for $280 USD. So $280 USD for a PSA 10 of a card that comes in a deck box. Kind of interesting. You know, I don't think we should be painting every single card in this TCG as something rare and chase-worthy. But I guess as time goes on, you know, and these things become more scarce, I suppose the market kind of automatically goes in that direction. But kind of wanted to show this off because, like, I have this card. This deck came out, I mean, last year. So, you know, nothing crazy. But anyways, let's move on. So we got the Boa event card from OP14 selling for about $391 Canadian. About, like, what is that? $320 USD. I like showing off the manga event cards every now and again because, you know, I'm a personal big fan of these. I do think their potential is huge. I think they're very unpriced in a lot of ways, but in the same breath, get them while you can. You know, definitely not a bad price. A little less than $400 Canadian for a PSA 10. I mean, let's be honest. PSA 10 automatically adds a couple $100 to most things. This card was selling originally for like $600-700 when OP14 came out. I knew it was going to come down, and it has. So definitely good buy, and I think it's something people should be looking at while the set is still kind of trickling behind the latest set OP15. because things might go up again. We never know, right? Next up, we've got a 3-on-3 cup chopper card here being sold for $750 USD. But when we actually look at 130 point, sold for $670 USD, so $80 under price. I have to admit, it is 130 point is definitely useful to see the real price. So shout out to everybody telling me to do that. But yeah, you know, these type of cards are really cool, and this is also from 2023, which I think personally is a really good year for buying cards. I think anything stamped with 2023 is a good buy, man. You know, it's basically the first full year where One Piece was going in full swing with the TCG. And you know, these cards are like, you know, they're champion cards, they're tournament cards, and they're super hard to come by. I mean, take a look. There's only 194 total PSA count and 174 PSA 10. So something to really consider. I do think 670 USD, not too bad, and it's chopper. So I think it's a good buy. Next up, we have got the gold buggy, the PSA 10 gold anniversary buggy. Guys, this card, super valuable. You know, OP14 was a good set because they had the last edition of the gold cards, as far as we know. And I do think it's possible that that's going to be the case for a while. They may bring it back down the road with other characters, but I do think the gold cards are fantastic, and, you know, the buggy is up there. But we can see here it was selling for quite a bit of money. We've got almost 2,000 pounds here. Yeah, they were selling this card for roughly $2,500 USD, and they knocked it down to 1,550 British pounds. And when we type it in our little calculator, we can see it's about $400 less than what they were asking for. Regardless, guys, I do think having these cards in PSA 10s is fantastic. You know, like, you could argue that OP14 wasn't the most prolific set, but I think when you really make the most out of each set and you get the best card of each set, it is going to hold its value in some regard. I mean, OP12, not a great set in my honest opinion, except for the gold and silver Teach card, you know, Blackbeard. So I do think this is a good buy, and it's gold. And coming from a guy who's trying to get the silver collection and he's one card away, the gold collection is just a level up, you know what I mean? All right, moving on, we've got the Mihawk manga card from OP14. This card has dropped significantly in price, but I think now is the time to start considering this for your collection or portfolio. You know, it's obviously not the best image of Mihawk, but it is still Mihawk, and it is still a manga card, and it is still technically the first manga card of Mihawk, which are things to consider when you're, you know, approaching this sort of stuff. But yeah, it sold for $1,025 USD, approximately $1,400 Canadian. That's pretty okay. I've been seeing this roughly selling around this price for this card in a PSA 10. So, yeah, not too bad. I think raw right now is like maybe $900. So, pretty decent. All right, guys, moving on. We've got another 2023 championship card. What did I say earlier? These are super impressive, and I do think worth looking at. You know, this is obviously Nami. Waifu tax gets kind of like put in right now. But yeah, this sold for $495 Australian dollars, a little bit less than $500 Canadian. Overall, not too bad. I mean, again, PSA 10's just going to add a significant amount of money onto this card. But, you know, it's a championship card. The stamp is super nice. I'm a big fan of this stamp. They've been changing it as they go, and I do really like the Straw Hat stamp as well. But again, 2023, you know, it was kind of the first real full year that One Piece was kind of out with these tournaments and stuff. So I do think it's a good buy. We got another buggy here selling for a little less than $2,000, which is a little more expensive than the other one we were looking at earlier. But when we take a look at 130 point, we can see it actually sold for less than the other one. Sold for 1,365 British pounds, $2,600 USD. Crazy expensive card. All right, so next up, we have got the Nami SP from EVO3 selling April 18th on a Saturday. Somebody was probably sipping a nice beer on eBay, being like, you know what, it's time. It's time to buy Nami. PSA 10 of Nami for $1,750 USD, $2,400 Canadian. You know, I gotta say, the SPs from EBO3 are still quite expensive. And the thing is, like, EB sets, as you know, are low print. Now, they are reprinting this set specifically, so these prices may come down for a little bit. I do think long-term, this set will do well. It's also, again, waifu tax. I think Nami and Robin and Boa are good bets just in general, and the SPs for this sets are pretty beautiful. I've yet to see it in person, but from what I've seen in videos, pretty good. But yeah, selling for close to $1,800 USD. I mean, this is manga territory. This is gold and silver SP territory, but very pricey SP. Speaking of SPs, we got a Perona SP here selling for $350 USD in a PSA 10. Really, really nice card. A really beautiful card. You know, these SPs in general, really great for the collection. And I just think they're really worth investing in general. I just think, you know, if you were going to only have like a certain type of card in your collection, it would be SPs. Because everything else, like the manga, like you could go all mangas, which is fair too. But the SPs hold a special place in my heart, and honestly, people are starting to wake up to that. But yeah, 350 USD. All right, moving on. So this one's a little interesting. So I have been seeing people selling promos like this one here for very interesting prices. I've got another one we're going to be looking at now shortly. But yeah, this Tony Chopper being listed for $345. When we go on 130 point, we see that, and this was, when was this? This was April 18th. Yeah, so we can see that the card actually ended up selling for $290 USD. But yeah, this is a promo card for the 25th anniversary collection. The thing about like promo cards like this, like anniversary collections, is just that like, you know, once upon a time, it was like $100, $150, $200, and you got like a whole set. Now you just can't get your hands on them because scalpers and bots, right? So in a sense, they're just super hard to come by. So if you want a piece of that collection, you almost need to, you know, invest in something separate like this. But yeah, I kind of want to look at that. Also, real quick, I just wanted to show the live action cards here for a second because some people have been asking me about this. Look, I'll be real with you. Like, love the live action One Piece. I do. Like, I finished it. You know, it's not perfect, but it's pretty good. I'm enjoying it as a lifelong fan. The cards just don't really mix with the card game. I mean, it's, you know, it just takes you out of the fantasy, you know what I mean? Like it's real life. I think it's cool to have them. Do I think they're like a crazy investment? No, not really. You know, some people may really value them, or people who only really care about the live action, or maybe people who come into One Piece and into the TCG through the live action might really appreciate these, but I don't know. I don't think they're anything special. But you know, just taking a look here, this card, they were asking for $375 Canadian, and they got $275. So $100 underpriced. That is the time, right? Yeah, $100 under asking price. So, you know, not too bad. Next up, we've got this super sick EBO2 Luffy leader card. Iconic, scary, Luffy looking terrifying in this photo here. Selling for $1,049 USD. This is an incredibly hard leader card to get. I am a little weird with leader cards being in PSA 10 slabs. But you know what? It's sort of like you can still capture these leader cards that are super rare and appreciate them. I mean, hell, you could use them still. It's not like you can't have your leader on the table with your PSA 10 slab. But yeah, this was a really hard card to get. The pull rates for EBO2 were freaking nuts, man. Like, very, very difficult, as you know, with like the gold leaders and stuff too. So really, really hard. But yeah, $1,049 or $1,434 Canadian. You know what? Fair. So I'm a big fan of these winter cards. I actually recently just got this Luffy. This is one of the more recent ones. They're pretty neat. I mean, there's no texturing on them, but they've got their own unique look to them. You know, the tournament packs and stuff, the winter packs, I should say, sorry. But really nice cards. You know, it's a style. You know, it falls in line with other like tournament related cards like that. So, you know, it is still worth looking into. Really nice cards. But yeah, this sold for $179 USD. I will admit that is pretty expensive. I have this card and I bought it for like $25, $30 raw. So, you know, it does really increase the price. Now, prices have obviously changed. So, but yeah, you know, interesting buy. Let's say that. Also, next up, we've got the Bonnie SP. This card, okay, so fun story. I got this card. I bought this card like a month and a half ago. And I legitimately thought it was going to be lost in the mail. I paid like almost $300 for this card, and it took like a month to get here, which is kind of freaking me out. But anyways, you know, it was about like $270, $280. So yeah, as we can see here, a PSA 10 kind of doubles the price there. Pretty decent pop count, not too crazy, only 1,500. But yeah, this was an SP from OPO 8, and overall, it's a really, really nice card. I kind of hate constantly opening this binder and trying to show you guys, but it's something I just feel like I need to do more of. As you can see, Bonnie right there. Really, really nice card. You know, I got to do a video one day on my binder and just kind of show this collection I have, because I'm sure a lot of you guys are in awe what the hell I got here. Overall, really nice card. Manga Ace, guys, selling for $1,623 USD. I'm personally chasing this card. I do see people selling it for $1,500 raw. So it is interesting to see it selling for this price. But overall, I do think this is a nice card to have, obviously from OP13. And I just think this is a good ace. The ace from OP02 is okay, but I like this ace a lot more. It just shows the character way better. But that's just personal preference. But anyways, guys, going through the last few cards here, we got the Ace SP here selling for $300, 300 British pounds, sorry, which is 553 Canadian. PSA 10, really nice card. I mean, these cards in general have definitely been going up in price, and I mean, they've just got that beautiful gold trim. I mean, look at that. You know what I mean? Like, again, SPs are king. SPs are fantastic. I actually just need the Beckman and the Sabo to complete the set too, the SP set, so that's pretty neat. But yeah, I mean, it's a nice card. Again, really nice to have in a PSA 10 slab. These are the cards you definitely want graded and protected. So, but the best actual offer was $275. So we can see the price has gone down a bit. So what is that? So they sold it for $371 USD, which is, you know, not too bad. So one of the last things I wanted to show, going back to the chopper we were talking about earlier, somebody sold the entire first anniversary TCG English set in all PSA 10s for 4,500 British pounds, which is 8,300 Canadian. What is that in US? $6,000, guys. $6,000, guys. Somebody paid $6,000 USD for this whole set, which is crazy to me. I mean, really nice set, but I would never think it was worth that much. But, you know, as we were saying earlier, right? Like, people just can't get their hands on the set anymore. They're not going to make more of it. It is the first anniversary set, too. So it does kind of have that advantage. But insane, guys. Insane prices here. But overall, guys, that is pretty much the latest things that people have been buying from the market. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Is there anything catching your eye? Are you noticing any patterns? Be sure to let me know. But anyways, guys, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Video should pop up on the screen. Be sure to click it. And I will see you over there.